Should you watch My Mister? Relationships in modern media are generally very underdeveloped and tend to follow the same trends of protecting family and friends and growing romantic relationships, which can be interesting, but generally speaking, it's hard to be unique with growing romance as the main focus, just because of how overdone it's been in media. My Mister, however, provides a unique and very interesting insight into how relationships work and grow in different ways and doesn't try to focus solely on romance like you see in a lot of Korean dramas. My Mister tells the story of Park Dong-hoon, a 40-year-old man working at a construction company as a structural engineer in Seoul, and Lee Ji-yeon, a 21-year-old temp worker at the same company. Park Dong-hoon's wife, Kim Yoon-hee, is a lawyer and is currently having an affair with Dong-hoon's CEO, Do Jun-young, who turns out to also have been Dong-hoon's junior back in college. Ji-yeon has inherited thousands of dollars in debt from her mother and has to take care of her grandmother, who can hardly even move anymore, with no real idea how to help her besides just feeding her and giving her somewhere to stay. Together, Dong-hoon and Lee Ji-yeon help each other with their problems in their lives and help get back on track from their tragic and heart-wrenching circumstances through extremely unconventional means. The mental fortitude and strength these two have is unreal and displayed in some of the most painful scenes I've ever seen. Dong-hoon takes a lot of beatings, not particularly in the traditional sense, but more so an emotional weight. He has to stay strong for his family as it feels like his life falls apart more and more by the day. This isn't to say he's a complete pushover though, or prideless. He's a fairly prideful man in the way he carries himself, and he doesn't like to be disrespected, but he'd rather avoid confrontation that's going to make it harder for him or people he is close to later if he can. Near the end of episode 4 shows how seriously he takes his family's pride when his older brother Song-hoon is humiliated and his mother saw it from the shadows when she went to bring him lunch. Dong-hoon knows how important this is and barges into the man's office, and it leads into one of my favorite scenes of the entire show. My Mister's existence as a Korean drama rather than being something like American television makes everything feel more impactful for the setting. Work culture and relationships are the end-all be-all of a person's life in Korea a lot of times. If your wife cheats on you, it's a horrifyingly humiliating situation and can ruin your career even. Work culture is strict and promotions into higher up positions are near impossible to get if you don't have a perfect record and an upstanding personality. Dong-hoon has to navigate through these circumstances while taking care of his two brothers who have fallen apart in recent years. His younger brother Ki-hoon failed to become the famous director he was setting out to be, and his older brother Sang-hoon was fired from his job and tried to run two businesses which both collapsed, pushing him out of his own home and family back into his mother's house with Ki-hoon. There's a great side story involving these two and their struggles to make ends meet and get their lives back on track, not only for themselves but to make their mother happy as well so she can pass away peacefully with a clear mind. They reunite with people that were close to them when they were working, as well as the relationships grow even further from what there was before. My Mister's base premise starts with Park Dong-hoon receiving a bribe and not understanding why or what he was supposed to do with it. I don't want to spoil how things turn out, but there are a ton of deep-rooted company political meetings happening and concern from what appears to be two sides of the company for whether or not they want a new CEO or to renew Do Jun-young's contract. This becomes more apparent later on in the series as things start to ramp up. The atmosphere in My Mister is absolutely perfect for the show. When Dong-hoon is at the work, you can feel the endless amounts of tension in the air and quiet whispers for questions. When he's roaming the streets, especially with Ji-yeon, everything feels quiet and just right for the scenes. The cramped small apartments Ji-yeon stays in fits the tone for when she's listening in on Dong-hoon's conversations and every move. The uncomfortable breaths and quiet conversations complement the cramped rooms and scrap meal she eats from her other part-time jobs. My Mister has very complex relationships that go through rough patches and struggles that keep you engaged and wondering what's going to happen next to that character you're suddenly really invested in. It feels like everyone in My Mister has at least one serious problem that weighs on their consciousness every single day, that they're trying to solve or have just given up on and let haunt themselves. They range from financial issues like Ji-yeon's, worries of future work like most of the group of drinking friends and the Park family, to being unable to get over serious relationships that happened over a decade ago like Jung-hee, the owner of the bar the cast frequently visits. It's a highly complex storytelling of human relationships and unbreakable bonds that can form in mere days because of the most obscure things. With all said and done, should you watch My Mister? If you couldn't tell from how I've been talking, then yes, you should definitely watch My Mister. Keep in mind, however, though it's only one season, it's 16 episodes long, and each episode is usually slightly above 1 hour for a 16 to 17 hour runtime in total, so it can feel pretty lengthy at times.